You see, there is a silent paradox operating in every breath of all things. Everything in nature knows how to let go. Only humans cling. The river does not try to hold on to its source. The wind does not retain its shape. The star does not fear fading. But humans stubbornly hold on to their own spring. We want flowers to bloom forever, forgetting that blooming is the beginning of withering. Just as breath can only enter when we agree to release it, the hand can only welcome the wind when it is open. But we fear the emptiness of the palm, fear loss, fear silence, fear having nothing left to grasp. And it is from there that all suffering begins. From the notion we cling to tightly, from the memories we dare not leave, from the shadow of a self that always wants to control. Letting go is not an action, but a return to the primal wisdom of nature, where everything operates without needing a commander. When we stop resisting, we realize we were never separate from the flow, and in the moment we cease trying to control life, life begins to flow through us, gentle, free, and complete as it always was. Imagine a person climbing to the mountaintop to find the sky. He carries provisions, a map, and the belief that only by standing on the highest peak can he touch freedom, see the light, or attain enlightenment. But he does not know that the sky has already enveloped him since he was at the foot of the mountain. With every step he climbs, the wind blows through his hair, sunlight falls on his shoulders, clouds drift lightly around him. But he does not stop to notice, because in his mind, the sky is the reward for effort, not the space he is living in. Humans are like that. We live in the illusion that freedom lies at the peak of control, when plans are perfect, when the mind has no flaws, when everything is within reach. But the infinite cannot be possessed, nor can it be climbed to. Every journey to seek wholeness begins with a wrong assumption, that we are missing some part of ourselves. In reality, the only thing preventing us from seeing the sky is that we keep looking up. The more we try to touch the infinite with finite hands, the more exhausted we become, and the sky seems farther away, not because it is hiding, but because we have turned it into a goal. Every plan, every intention, every effort to shape destiny is a rope tied around the wings of consciousness. The tighter we grasp, the weaker the wings become, and in the very moment we want to fly highest, we bind ourselves deepest to the ground. The climber does not realize that the path he is on is a circle. The higher he goes, the narrower the space, the thinner the air, and the light he thinks is salvation blinds him. Yet the sky, the place he wants to reach, is still there, vast, belonging neither to the peak nor the base, only to the one who knows how to stop. For the sky never needed to be touched, it only needed to be seen. When the climber finally stops, the mountain is silent, the wind gently stirs, the clouds disperse, and in that stillness, he realizes what he was seeking had never left him. Letting go is that moment when we realize there is nowhere to go, no peak to conquer, no one who must attain freedom. For the very act of climbing had obscured the sky, while stopping opens the way for it to pass through us. When we cease to be the climber, we become the mountain. When we stop seeking the sky, we are the sky. And in that stopping, life suddenly becomes as simple as breath. No more effort, no more searching, only primal existence, understanding itself. Fear of letting go is not really fear of loss, but fear of dissolution. At the deepest level, what we call I is just a shadow illuminating itself like a small candle in the boundless void, trembling yet proud before the endless wind of the universe. The ego is the candle in the wind. It fears extinguishing, yet also fears the great fire of consciousness, the light that no longer distinguishes the wick from the sky, that no longer tolerates the narrow walls the eye builds to feel safe. We fear being swept away by the wind, because the wind has no form. The wind keeps no name, promises no shelter. The wind is simply the breath of the whole. But if the candle refuses to go out, how can dawn appear? We hunch over, guarding our small halo of light and calling it the world. So the darkness of the infinite terrifies us. We fear no longer being named, fear no longer having boundaries, fear silence swallowing our voice. Yet silence does not swallow. Silence is the ground on which every echo is heard. Everything in life is a dance of appearing and dissolving. The flower blooms to fade. The wave rises to return to the sea. The bell rings to melt into emptiness. Clouds gather for rain and rain clears for a clear sky. There is no complete loss. Only the transformation of form and name, like water changing vessels, but not changing water. Fear arises only when we mistake the formed for the formless, the shadow for the light. Only the true self, the unborn, undying, boundless, centerless, knows no fear because it cannot be diminished or added to. It is the space for every form to come and go, the mirror for every image to appear and vanish, the ocean for every wave to rise and subside. When the gaze turns back to that source, fear melts like morning mist in the sun. No one is taken away, only boundaries soften, labels peel from the forehead, cages open their doors. Look at the droplet leaving the cloud. It does not die, it changes homes. Look at the moth in the night. When the candle burns out, dawn does not punish it. Dawn simply rises, and every small flame becomes part of the vast light. Letting go is daring to step over the line. The candle draws around itself, to let the wind do the wind's work. When we stop shielding the candle with trembling hands, the hands meet the air, the skin meets the sun, the eyes meet the sky, and right in that moment, we are no longer the solitary candle, but the sky that has illuminated it from the beginning. Dissolution, therefore, is not losing. Dissolution is returning to what cannot be lost. And when we understand this, we no longer ask how to fear less, because fear has become the wind, and we have become the space where the wind comes home. Look at the stream. It does not know its destination, has no map, no concept of success or failure. Yet it still finds the sea. It flows because its nature is movement, not for any goal other than being itself. Humans are different. We refuse to let life be free like water. We build dams, erect walls, dig canals, draw directions, hoping the flow will obey us. When water overflows us, we call it chaos. When we exhaust ourselves trying to stop it, we call it fate. But who is truly tired? It is the one trying to hold what was born to go. Water never resists us. It only finds another way. Yet we, out of fear of loss, turn ourselves into a wall in the middle of the stream. Every time we try to hold on, we harden, turn to stone, lose the flexibility inherent in life. Then we wonder why our hearts are parched, why joy recedes like an underground spring in drought, not knowing that clinging is the very cause of our thirst. Letting go is not releasing the water, but ceasing to be the keeper. Water does not need to be freed. It is already going. What needs liberation is the hand gripping the bank. Humans cannot imprison life, just as we cannot hold light in our hands or keep an echo in our chest. Light is seen only when we do not close our hands. Echo is heard only when we let it dissolve into silence. In every moment, life wants to flow through us, to be felt, but we try to turn it into possession. We seize experience and call it memory, seize others and call it love, seize time and call it recollection, then suffer when it all fades like mist. But mist does not betray the sky. Water does not leave the flow. Only we forget that we too are part of that movement. When we realize nothing can be kept, we lose nothing at all, only the illusion that there was something to keep. And in that moment, we return to being the water, soft, quiet, steadfast. We flow through every form without being trapped by any. We touch rock, touch grass, touch the sun, and each touch is a knowing that freedom is not at the end of the road, but in the very ability to drift. When the hand stops holding, we hear the water sing, the ancient song of eternity, resounding, not belonging to the singer, nor to the listener, but simply life praising itself. There is a moment in the journey where all resistance dissolves, like salt in water, and the miracle happens. It is not that we let go, but letting go happens on its own. That is when the will grows weary, when the hand no longer has strength to grasp, when the mind stops arguing with what is, like a leaf falling. Not because it wants to fall, but because autumn has arrived, because the wind calls, because the branch releases, because the earth welcomes. The leaf does not choose the moment, but it knows how to accept. And in that fall, there is a beauty no spring can match. The beauty of absolute surrender, of no longer having anyone to try. Humans are the same. At some point, the plans, the desires, the things once thought to be pillars, begin to melt. Not because they were wrong, but because we have seen the impermanent nature in everything. The burden suddenly lifts, not because the problems disappear, but because the person with problems no longer exists. When the keeper of the story dissolves, the story dissolves too. Then only breath remains, the heartbeat, the subtle movement of existence. Nothing left to achieve, nothing to avoid. Life continues, but without a center to measure it. In that state, peace does not come from accomplishment, but from the absence of the one who wants to accomplish. It is not a reward for those who have practiced, understood, or been right, but a return to what has never truly left us. Letting go has no soundtrack, no light of victory. It happens in silence, where the ego that once cheered is now just smoke dissolving into the air. In that moment, no one is saved, no one is lost. Only a softness spreads throughout body and mind, a feeling like water meeting water, like breath merging with the wind. When we stop trying to change, life itself begins to change. When we stop seeking peace, peace appears. What remains cannot be named. It is both us and not us, both empty and full, both silent and alive. That is the moment the leaf touches the ground. No pain, no regret, no anticipation, just a complete fall into the arms of what cannot be grasped. And because of that, it is perfect. The surface of consciousness is waves, always moving, colliding, breaking, rising and falling, between the wind of emotions and the storm of thoughts. But deep below, the ocean is still. It is the same ocean. Only the surface is stirred by the wind. Humans often forget this. We look at our mind when it is turbulent, and believe we are those movements. When high we are proud, when breaking we despair, when calm we think we have attained the path. But all forms are temporary. Letting go is the moment we realize we are not the waves, but the ocean, not the movement, but the ground that holds the movement. The ocean does not need to extinguish the waves to be still, just as we do not need to extinguish thoughts to have peace. When we stop trying to become flat and calm, the ocean calms itself. When we stop trying to become good, our nature shines on its own. That nature has never left us, only obscured by our own noise. Just as the ocean floor has never been lost, only we are busy chasing each wave and forget to look down. Every effort to control the waves only makes the wind stronger. Like the more we try to be silent, the louder the heart becomes. But when we are still, not by force, but by seeing clearly, waves know how to dissolve on their own. Water finds its way back to water. Stillness is not a reward at the end of the journey, but the foundation where the journey begins. From there, every sound, every movement, every joy and sorrow is just the ocean singing itself. When consciousness sees this, it no longer wants to win or lose, rise or fall, because it knows the waves cannot leave the ocean, just as the self cannot leave life. Emotions may surge, thoughts may shatter, but deep inside there is an unchanging stillness where there is no I to fluctuate. And there we no longer need to let go, because there is nothing being held. Every disturbance becomes rhythm, every collision becomes song, and every wave, fierce or gentle, is just the ocean breathing out and breathing in. When humans truly understand letting go, they no longer stand on opposite banks, holding or releasing, wanting or fearing, seeking or avoiding. All opposites exist only when there is someone in the middle to choose. But when that person dissolves into the flow, only the pure movement of life remains. In that state, there is no question of where to go, because water does not ask for direction. It simply goes, and in going it has arrived. Letting go is no longer an action, but becomes the nature of existence. Like water does not need to learn how to flow. Like rain does not need to be taught how to fall. Every action from then on is like rain falling, natural without hesitation, not for a goal or reward, only because it cannot be otherwise than its nature. When the mind no longer resists, the universe begins to breathe through us. Every breath, every movement, every glance is the rhythm of an ownerless flow, where there is no doer, only the doing. This is the secret of life. There is no one living this life, only life living itself through countless forms, like a river through sand, like wind through leaves, like light through water, without ever sticking. When consciousness becomes transparent, everything operates with a nameless intelligence. Birds sing, rain falls, hearts beat, flowers bloom, and in each act is the same music. The music of life knowing itself. Letting go at this point is no longer a decision, but the natural state of understanding. When we know there is nothing to hold, and no one to release, action and stillness become one. The person who reaches that point does not seek peace, but wherever they are is peace. Does not seek the path, but every step is home. Water does not know rest, yet it never tires, because it does not move by force, but by nature. And humans, when becoming that water, are no longer swept away, but are the sweeping itself. Then every breath is a river bend, every thought is a ripple, every moment is the ocean opening in the heart. And in that ocean, there is no small self asking, am I letting go or holding? Only pure life dancing with itself. Letting go is not going to the extreme, not holding nor releasing, but being in the middle, where the guitar string knows how to vibrate between tension and slack. If the string is too slack, the sound dies. If too tight, it snaps. Only in that balance does music arise. And only in that equilibrium do humans know what freedom is. Freedom does not lie in abandoning everything or having everything, but in the ability not to be attached to either holding or letting go. When an artist paints, he merges with each brushstroke. But when the painting is done, he no longer thinks about it. When a musician finishes a piece, he does not mourn the sounds that rang out. The flower blooms and falls, not grieving the scent and color that passed, because it knows the fragrance is not lost, only returned to the wind. That is the art of let go, living fully but belonging to nothing. Just as the river, when flowing, does not think of the sea, but the sea is always within it. Those who understand this art do not try to avoid life, nor do they drown in it. They live but do not cling. They love but do not possess. They act but do not demand. Everything is done with full presence, but leaves no trace of the doer. That is what Buddhism calls the middle way, and Lao Tzu calls Wu Wei. Action without force, not placing oneself outside the flow, but letting life reveal itself through us, like a string vibrating. Because the wind touches it, not because someone plays it. When we understand this, life is no longer a problem of winning and losing, gaining and losing, right and wrong, but becomes a piece of music played in every moment, each note resounding then fading, so the next silence can be born. Those who do not yet understand think letting go is loss, holding is gain. Those who are awake see that both are beats of the same song. Sound cannot be separated from silence, just as holding and letting go cannot be separated from life. Only the attached mind creates opposites. But when the mind is clear, every movement becomes art, moving without chaos, still without death. And so letting go is no longer an action to learn, but the natural dance of one who has seen that life does not need to be adjusted, only listened to. Such a person lives in the marketplace without getting lost in it, smiles at suffering without being touched by it, touches impermanence without seeing loss. Because they know true freedom lies not in grasping or releasing, but in the ability to let the guitar string of life vibrate in tune with the wind. then falls silent in stillness, light deep and complete. All of life, if observed closely, is merely one inhale and exhale of the universe. When the universe inhales, we call it birth. When it exhales, we call it death. But the wind does not die, it only changes direction. The wave is not lost, it only returns to the sea. Light does not go out, it only transforms into darkness to begin another cycle of illumination. Letting go, therefore, is not an end, but the natural exhale of existence. Every flower, star, raindrop, gust of wind knows how to dissolve at the right moment, so as not to obstruct the breathing of the world. It is precisely because of each departure that space is opened for something new to arrive. Try to imagine, if flowers never withered, spring would suffocate. If leaves never fell, the wind would have no path to fly. The universe breathes through us, through every breeze skimming the water's surface, through every heartbeat in the chest, and even when we are no longer here, that breath continues. When you understand this, you will see that nothing truly ends, only rhythms of transformation within the boundless breathing of life. Birth and death, holding and releasing, coming and going, all are just two halves of a single breath. When exhaling, the universe returns to itself. When inhaling, it finds myriad forms once more. And humans, upon realizing they too are that breath, no longer fear dissolution, because they recognize that what dissolves is the very way existence continues. Each letting go is a time the universe exhales through you, releasing the old to keep the rhythm of life flowing. Each acceptance is an inhale welcoming the new shape of the infinite. In that understanding, you no longer fear impermanence, because you see that impermanence is not the enemy, but the rhythm of eternity. The universe's breath has no beginning and no end. It only changes roles, from raindrop to ocean, from leaf to wind, from you to everything. And right there, letting go is no longer a philosophy or an effort, but the most natural act of being, exhaling with life, dissolving into the nameless flow, where you are no longer the observer but the breath itself unfolding in infinity, the pulse of the universe knowing itself. If you feel even a little more at peace after this journey, stay with the channel so we can continue breathing in unison with the rhythm of life. Thank you for listening. See you again in our next return, amid this endless flow.